Mesechet Bava Metzia Daf Mem Beis Amud Aleph. What a beautiful day. We're in a different room today. You can notice that. Mem Beis Amud Aleph. Ahu Gavra. We're in the middle of the wad lawns. Yeah, Ahu Gavra. This is a case which we've seen before, but this is really the origin of the case is here. Mem Beis Amud Aleph, although we saw it a few dafim ago. Ahu Gavra. There was a man, the Afkid Zuze Gabe Chavre. There was a man that deposited money Zuzim by his friend. So fine, that's a picodon. And let's assume the person was a shomer chinam. Okay. Osvinu betzrifa de uveni. The friend placed it in a tzrifa de uveni. What's tzrifa de uveni? Says Rashi, buys cotton ve'ogul kamin kova. It's a small hut. It's a small house that is shaped like a hat or like a tent or like a round tent. Yeah. And this is and it's made for the purpose of it is for hunters. Uveni is like le'erov is to hunt. Yeah. So really this was like a hunter's shack, a hunter's hut in the middle of the forest. Yeah. We've seen this before. And it's also called uveni for another reason because it's made out of arova. It's made out of willow. So it's very flammable. It's a highly flammable building. Yeah. No American would live there. But it's very safe from thieves because thieves just don't walk in the middle of the forest. That's not, where people are. So the person was placed it, the Shemachina placed it in a place that is what? Tzrifa Deuveni is a place that mitzad the Ganovim, it's a very good place. It's a very smart place to hide it from Ganovim because they just don't go to the middle of the forest. That's not where the Beverly Hills people live. On the other hand, it's a very unsafe place regarding fire, right? So in a way, it was very good and it was very bad. What happened in the end? The unexpected has happened. Ignuv, haha, Ignuv. At the end of the day, funnily enough, through the left door, through the back field, and through the back door in the left field, the unexpected happened, and he was actually stolen there from the place. Now, and Rashi points out, as we saw, you should have put them in the ground. Where should you put them? No problem with Tzrifa Duvani per se, but had you put them deep in the ground, let's say 3 tefachim below, 1 tefach below, the fire wouldn't have consumed it, and the thieves wouldn't have come. So Lamaisa, he wasn't such a nice guy. On the other hand, we can see what Omar of Yosef. Let's Rav Yosef talk. Says Rav Yosef, Afal gav linyan ganvi netirusahi. Although regarding the ganovim, this is netirusa, this is good shemira, this is considered as high level shemira, and it's not pshia. Linyan nura pshiusahi. Regarding the fire nura, that's called pshia. That's called negligent regarding the fire, right? So what is the definition of this case? Classical definition, that is defined halachically as and chayev. In other words, you started off as being a pasher. You did not guard it nicely. You're a pasher. You should have placed it in the ground, and also it's a flammable place. It's not a place, yeah. It's not a real. There wasn't good shemira. The soifei be'oines. On the other hand, the end of the story, the result was what? Soifei be'oines is chayev. In other words, the end result, that what really actually happened was oines, meaning vis-a-vis ganovim. If we only look at ganovim, and that's what happened, it's oines. It's absolutely unexpected that ganovim should come there. And Rashi points out, by the way, that Geneva, anyways, by shomer chinam, that's another point. Geneva is also for shomer chinam considered as oines. In other words, if there was a pshia and people stole it as a result of complete negligence, you put it in the middle of the city. Oh, let's say this Tzrifa Durbani would have been in town, inside where people live, in a regular neighborhood. Of course, there would be pshia. And if Ganovim come, it's not Geneva, it's pshia. You can't just put it on the table or even in a regular box or in a cupboard in your house, right? It has to be in the ground, somewhere very safe. It's called pshia. Here, there was no pshia for Ganovim, true, because why? Because really, he put them in a very far away place. So regarding pshia, that's called oines. Excuse me, regarding shomer chinam, that's oines. Because for shomer chinam, yeah, that level of shmir is good enough that if Ganovim came unexpectedly, gneva v'aveda, shomer chinam is potter, it's oines. So what do we do? Do you look at the beginning or do you look at the end? That's the question. Chayev. According to the first Lashon in Rav Yosef, you started off b'pshia, and the unexpected oinus came. You were a bad boy, but the bad the result did not come as a result of your bad behavior, yeah, you're still chayiv. That's the first lishna. Bikadamri, some say, no, excuse me, afagav delinia nura pshiusei, since although regarding the fire, it's pshia, it's true that regarding fire, not a good boy. You put it in an exposed house, in an exposed corner, in a house that's very flammable, in a forest, that's where all the streifas happen, all the fire. However, lenient ganvi nitirusahi. Regarding the ganovim, there was good nitirusa. Regarding the ganovim, you got it very nicely. No ganovim come to the middle of the forest. So v'tchilosa b'pshia v'sofe b'oines potu. You started off b'pshia. Yeah, you started off being negligent, but the end was oines, meaning the result, the outcome was not. Yeah, the disaster that happened in the end wasn't an outcome of your pshia, was an oines, because ganovim in the forest are what? Are absolute oines, nobody would imagine. Definitely not a shomer sofer level. Yeah. So potter, you're potter. That second opinion is lenient, not opinion. It's a second explanation. Rabbi Yosef says it to potter. Vehilchasa. Oh, everyone's asking me what's the aloche. Vehilchasa tchilosa b'pshia v'sofer b'oines chayev. You started off b'pshia and ended off b'oines, you chayev. The person is a poshea. We discussed in the previous sugya exactly the details, but at the end of the day, generally speaking, if you misbehaved and you're poshea, you chayev for being poshea. The fact that at the end of the day, your pshia did not cause the final nezek does make a difference. Did you return the object to the bailim? No. Were you poshea? Yes. So 2 and 2 do add up to 4, even though there's this glitch in the middle of it's not really the result of what I did. But at the end of the day, pshia, yes, you were. Pay for a pshia. Pay for your pshia. And that's it. That wasn't what brought the mice, the bad result. Okay. I mean, there is such an opinion, but we don't follow that way. And we say that your chayev and the peanut gallery were first. Yeah. Nice. It's a pgam in your shemira. Yeah.
It wasn't this, it would have been something, not a good shomer.
Oh.
You didn't show discretion or had feel up.
Yeah, I like what Rabbi Yaakov is saying. If you remember in Bava Kama, there's a very big chakira all over Bava Kama. There's a question by the Meforshim. Why is it that I have to pay for what my dog did? My dog went, I don't have a dog, but if my dog went and bit someone, why do I have to pay for it? Is it because I am not shomer well? I did not look after my dog and I'm responsible. It's a punishment for me not looking after my dog, my fire, my pit, my thing, all above the common stuff. Or no, it's not because I did something bad. I just have to pay for not because of my simroim. It's because that happened. The dog is an extension of me. It's owned by me. The fire is owned by me. I have to pay for what they did. And all kinds of nafkaminis. Very nice. I think it's also connected to what you're saying. The mice, at the end of the day, you as a person, you're negligent. The mice, it didn't happen as a result of X, Y, Z. So what? It's a din in you that you are Peshan Yoshmer and you have to pay for it. It sounds, I didn't see all the Meforshim here, but it sounds pretty credible what you're saying. Yes, Alan.
Joseph saying that the law, according to him, is it begins with negligence and ends up.
No. Story time. Today we're going to have lots of stories. The common denominator of today's shiur is all the cases. We're going to see 3 cases, if you let me go through all 3 cases. That is 3 cases in which we're kind of like in a conundrum. Who is liable? There are 3 cases here in which we're not sure who should pay or who should be paid. Yeah, what shall the dayonim do? That's the title. Now, okay, Haugava, 5 lines from the bottom of the page. Mem Beis A, MBA. We're learning today for the MBA. Haugavra the Afkid Zuzi Gabe Chavre, yet another person who deposited money by his friend foolishly. Amale Havli Zuzoi, bring me my zuzim, bring me the zuzim, bring me the money. We also saw that case before. Omerle said the shomer, Lo yadan heichot vinu. I don't know where I placed them. I placed them somewhere safe even. I just don't remember where. Also, they came to Rove to ask what to do. Omer Alehu says Rove to the litigants, yeah. Kol lo yodana pshiusahi. The mere fact lo yodana, when you say I don't know where I placed it, that alone is pshiusa zil shlim. Go and pay. Remember, we had this case that at the end of the day they did find it. But as long as you don't find it and you say I don't know, it's somewhere in my house. Although it's somewhere in your house, being somewhere in your house, that's not called shemira. somewhere in my house is not considered to be a shemira. It's true that if they found it afterwards and it was found to be in the house, but the eved, then he doesn't have to pay, or he gets paid back, because Lamaisa being in the house is being in a safe place. But as long as you don't provide him with the money and you say, I don't know where they are, or could be also, to be on the safer side, maybe it's even outside his house, maybe he gave it to another person. He just doesn't know where it is. Not knowing where it is of itself, he's already called pshia, and the shomer has to pay the owner. That, by the way, I'm sorry, is not a case of the, that's not one of the cases of the onim don't know to do. I'm sorry. The next case will be, a case of a question. Yeah.
Why would I think it's not shit?
Because maybe it's in his house. Because he says, I know put it somewhere very, very safe. I don't remember where. One would say that's not pshia, because he knows he put it somewhere safe. He doesn't remember whether it's a safe or under the carpet or under the mattress or inside his wife's shaitel. I don't know. He doesn't know where. But Lamaisa, not knowing where and looking and not finding, that as itself is pshia. Although, he could swear that he was in a very safe, good place. But if it's not available
So
for the
good, I
Bailim,
don't
that
even
is
know
pshia.
where it is.
What?
I'm so good that I can't even fucking.
Yeah, it happened to me also. You hide something, it's such a good out of the box place and you forget where it is. Yeah. So if it's for yourself, mail it. But for another person, it's pshia. Oh, here comes the case, another case of a question. There was a man, a man placed and deposited money by his friend. Ashlaminu le'imei. The man, the shomer, let's assume again shomer chinam. What did he do? He gave it to his mother. Gave it to his mommy. And let's assume the mother, lived with him or next to him, like in the old-fashioned families, the generations lived together. The mother of the shomer's mother, she placed it in a kartelisa, which is a box. That kind of box, says the Rosh. I followed the Rosh in this sugi very clearly. The Rosh says that kartelita is a place where you put money, but it's not where you put the money that you keep for a long time. It's not your savings in the bank. People back then would have, basically a place at home, like under the ground, where you keep the money for your savings, for your old age pension, for the new investment of next year. And there's a place for the petty cash, kitty. So that kartelita was a nice box, but that was meant for money that was there for, give the child when he needs money for the bus, when he needs money for school. So that's where she placed it. The ignuv, sure enough, it was stolen. And is that a good place to put money for shomer? Anybody? Put it in a petty cash box? No. The rabbi says no, and it's no. It's not under the ground. It's not a safe place. It's a very handy, accessible place. So she put it in a place that wasn't nice enough, the ignuv, and sure enough, it was stolen. Omar Rove says Rove, that is not so simple. Of course, somebody should be chayiv, or so we think, but who is culpable? Who done it? Heichi nidainu daini l'haidina. This line you're going to see 3 times in this Amud. Heichi nidainu daini. How shall the dayanim judge l'haidina, this din? How shall the judges judge this case? That's a question of Rove, saying that things here are very unclear. Why? Who is at fault? Who is to blame? Name a leila didei. If we tell the shomer himself, zil shlim, go and pay. Why? Because you are shomer shemosar le shomer. And we said in daf, where? In daf lamed vov, shomer shemosar le shomer, machloikes, but we pasken, shomer shemosar le shomer chayv. Do you have to translate to French again? No. You know shomer shemosar le shomer, right? You gave me something to look after. And I think that Yosef is a nice guy, and I gave it to Yosef without your permission. So that is wrong. Why did you give it to your mother? Go pay. The mere fact you gave it to your mommy, and she's a different entity, different person, for that you, Mr. First Shomer, you have to pay. Why? Either because I don't trust your mother, or I don't trust her shvua, right? I don't trust her to be nishba. I don't know your mother if she's as honest as you are. I don't know your mother. So you have to pay for the fact you gave it to another entity. Omar, if you say that to him, then he can get easily off the hook and behind the page. Omar, kol hamafkid, as we saw before, kol hamafkid, al das ishto bonavu mafkid. In other words, and that's why I told you the mother lives with the family. When you're mafkid by an adult, you assume that the adult is not home 24/7, unless it's Jonathan Pollard, he's not, In other words, kol hamafkid, a person who's mafkid, knows that some of the time, the person himself, the shomer, won't be home. He goes to Mincha, to Mariv, to work, to play golf, to learn shiur Torah. And what? You give it also knowing that part of the day, who's going to look after the money? Adas ishto bonav humafkid. You know that the wife and children, older children, adult children, will some of the time look after the money. It's not called shomer, shomer. It's not a separate entity. It's the same entity. They give it to Reuven Cohen, you give it to family Cohen. So if the mother lived with them, next to them, she's part of the family, maybe there was a single guy, I don't know. So you know that the mother, she would also look after that. So you can't blame the shomer for giving to a different person. His mother is not a different person when it comes to financial entity. It's all one big happy family. So Mimela, the person himself, the shomer, is pashtus off the hook. So who's now in a hot seat? The limelight is now on the mother. Blame the mother. That's very modern psychology, right? You blame your mother for everything. You should ask the mother. Tell his mother. It says mother before, and then to the mother. Check again, Rabbi. I'm sorry. It says that he gave it to the mother. Yeah. Second line, the penultimate line, second to last, middle of the line. I am okay with it. Now, tell the mother, Zili Shlimi, go tell the mother, go pay. Why did you put it in such an unsafe place? Lady, why did you put the money that's for your shemira in such a negligent place, such a place where every kid can take it? Omro, she would tell us in Beis Din, Loy omali delav didei ninhu. He did not tell me that it's not his. My son, the doctor, did not tell me the lav didei ninhu. He didn't tell me that it's not his, the akbarinu. He didn't tell me that it's something that is a deposit of other people that I have to bury. According to the Rosh, this is very nice. In other words, it's not that she cares about others more than her son or vice versa. Had I know that this is money that has to be deposited, of course I'd put it under the ground and I would dig a hole 10 tefachim deep and bury it under that with a Metzia. But Lamaisa, I thought it's my son's money to be handled on a daily basis. Tomorrow is going to need it for the bus, and tomorrow is going to need it to buy a new suit. So I kept it with a small money, with a change box, because he never informed me the right way. He didn't tell me this is money of shemira of other people. Otherwise, I would have reacted. I would have acted well. Now let's go back to the son. The blame game now goes on the son. Amaylo omartlo. It's your fault. Why didn't you tell your mommy? Name Alay, let's tell him. Why didn't you tell her? Why didn't you tell the mommy that this is money to be deposited under the ground because it's choshuv? Why did you make her believe that it's your money? You didn't tell her this is Mr. Mafkid's money. Omar, he says, Kol shekain, all the more so, the way I know my mother loves me so much. Yeah, because I told her it's mine, or I let her understood that it's mine. I thought that if my mother thought that it's my money and not someone else's money, like a good poili shemane, she would take care of her son's needs more than other people. Jewish mommy. Yeah, I definitely wanted her to understand that it's my money, so she should look after it better. Lack of communication between the son and the mother. So now what happens at the end of the day? Very sad story. No happy end here. Everyone should start crying now. So at the end of the day, it says Rova, Ella, regretting everything and making an upshat. Mishtaba inu. The halacha should be as follows. This is a psak halacha. Mishtaba ihu. He should be nishba. The son should be nishba. The hanu zuzi, the dos zuzim, ashleminu le'imei. Yes, but nishba, he gave them to his mother. In other words, yeah, Lamaisa, the money was stolen from the box. That's for sure. That we know. That's a fact, right? Now, who says that you, Mr. Son, gave it to your mother? You're running, coming off the hook, saying what? That really, I gave it to my mommy. Binishba. We didn't see that. Take a shvua. That what? That you gave them to your mother. And in that happy note, you'll be off the hook. You can now go away. You're okay. Go fly away. Why? Because it's not called shomer shomer. It's called part of the shmira. Can you move just? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you said you give it to your mother, okay, and that's okay to give to the mother because she's part of the family. As long as we believe you, you're off the hook. Now, what about the mother? The mother should now take a shvua. She should make a shvua that she placed them in the kartalita of the ignuv. and it was stolen. Yeah, I'm sorry, I was wrong before. We didn't know by Adim that it was stolen. She has to be nishba, not like I said, I'm sorry. She has to be nishba that really it was stolen by Kartalisa. And in a way, and that's a big chiddush. Here's the punchline, upotu. Why is she potu? Because I don't know if to define it as oines, but when a shomer is misinformed and is not aware of the fact that he's a shomer, he's potu. In other words, I don't know. I didn't learn this yesterday with Mechavrus. I didn't learn Be'iyun. I have to admit, yesterday I was in Shalim. I didn't prepare it so well. But one thing we know for sure: the reason why everyone is potter here and poor men. That why did they say so tragic? I didn't mean tragic. Yeah. Why do we say that this is a said end? Why? Because the person lost his money. He can't take the money from the son, not from the mother, and not from the Holy Ghost. He can't take it from anybody. Elamai, why is it that the mother is potter? What's really the main chiddush of the story? The chiddush is that the mother is potter because she was not aware that she's a shomer. And therefore what? So first of all, mitzido, there was no kabbalah shemira. She never accepted. If I leave something by Yitzchok and I don't tell him to be a shomer, not a shomer. Shmira has to be that I accept upon myself the shmira. She wasn't a shomer for somebody else. She thought it's her son's money. Or could be, maybe, I'm not sure how to define it, it's a form of oinus. Because Lamaisa, not oinus because people came with gun blazing or there's an earthquake. Oinus means, I don't know, I'm speculating here. Lamaisa, because for her level of a non-shmira, she thought she's just keeping it for her son for the bus ticket for tomorrow, not shmira bekarka. So for that level, maybe there was unexpected oinus, maybe. Or maybe there's no kabbalah shmira. Whichever way you look at it, shomer is only chayev. Inform him, this is yours, this is mine, and you have to look after it. Somebody asked me yesterday, and I'll listen to the question soon, what would be enechanami? If, let's say, I think you asked it, Jacob, I'm not sure. We said yesterday, what would be if a shomer tells a person, I'm not going to dig under the ground, I'm not under the wall, and not under anywhere. I'm sorry, I don't provide these services. Then of course he doesn't have to do it. Yeah, let's say I'm a shomer chinam, and I say, listen, I'm not digging holes under the ground, and I'm not digging niches in my wall, not for my shalom bayis, and I'm not going to put it over the roof. So then, if you want to accept shmir, fine. If not, not. And then I put it in the best place possible for me, which for me is, I don't know, some cupboard in my bedroom. For me, then if it gets stolen from there, I'm potter. Why? Because there was a verbal agreement between us. It all has to do with with the agreement between the owner and the shomer. Here, there was no conversation. The mother didn't know what's going on. If the shomer is unaware of the outside factors, he's potter. And I do have to find out exactly why. By the way, I owe you from yesterday an answer, Baruch, and I didn't forget about shlichut yad. I didn't have time yesterday to look into it. Wednesday is a bad day. It's a good day, but bad day for preparing shiur, and the rabbi was first. I'm sorry. Yeah. Weiter. Next case in which we're going to again see the point of heichini daini daina leudina. Yeah, how would the dayanim deal with a case in which more than one person is involved? In all cases, more than one person is involved. Yeah, it's a dysfunctional family with more than one person in it. Oh, it's a joker. It's from a friend. So, what's a dysfunctional case? More than one person. There was an apotropos. I called him an app. Yeah, the apotropos, the Yasmi. I hope it's not going to fall here. I'm sorry, Zoom people, but the chart is not available for you. Maybe I'll send it online. There was an apotropos of Yesoimim. Okay, apotropos is a custodian who looks after the poor little orphans who are below Mar Bitzvah. The Zoben Hu Toiro le Yasmi. He thought he's doing something nice and good, and he bought a tor. He bought a bull for the Yesoimim not to play with. That's good investment. He can rent it out. He can, do things with it. So he bought from the seller. By the way, there's a mysterious person over here. But we're going to meet him later in the sugya. The Patropos bought from the seller of the bull. He bought a bull, an ox. And the Patropos is in charge of the Yesoimim. Umasrei lebakra. And he gave it to look after to a cowboy. That's how I call him. To the shepherd of the cows. To look after the Yisomim themselves. They don't know how to look after the cow, after that ox. So he gave it to the cow sitter to look after the cow. So far, so good. However, there was a big medical problem with this cow, with this ox. It did not have, to begin with, it didn't have gums and teeth to eat with. It was missing teeth. He had some kind of, a defect, and he did not have teeth, and if somebody doesn't have teeth, that the original owner always fed it daisa, always fed it. He used to grind it like porridge and feed it to him. Now, basically, they found out now all of a sudden that this cow did not have teeth, umis, and he died. He died by the cowboys, by the shomer. He died by the shomer from lack of nutrition because they didn't eat. And I don't know if you know, but when cows don't eat, they die. Amar Rami Bar Chama. Now Rami Bar Chama says this is kind of complicated. How shall the dayanim, how shall the judges treat that din? How shall they judge that case? Now, who's at fault? Let's tell the apotropos, the orphans now lost a lot of money. The apotropos took the 20,000 shekels belonging to the Yomi from the Yomi account. He paid the seller, and he bought a cow that is defective, that is bad, without teeth, and he died. And therefore, the apotropos maybe should pay the Yomi from his own pocket for doing such a bad deal. Omar says the apotropos, not my fault. I'm not in the hot seat. Why? Ano me lebakra misalte. Yeah, in other words, I gave it to the professional cowboy. He knows about cows. He knows about teeth. He was supposed to feed him, and he was supposed to also find out that the animal's not eating and let me know. He should have informed me in the next Asefat Horim, the PTA evening or before, that the cow is not eating in school, that the cow is not eating by the cow sitter. Why didn't he? Lebakra zil shlim. So now, by the way, we are North Korea until the case is over, and then we'll be very open-minded and democratic again. Lebakra. Now, who's at the hot seat? Bakra. The Bakra, the cowboy, is a shomer. What kind of shomer is he? Socho. He's not working for free. He is a cow sitter professional, PhD in cowboyness. So now, Omar, let's go to the Bakra and say, you pay, mister. Didn't you notice that the animal's not eating? Omar, so he's off the hook. Omar, ano, me. I placed that show with all other cows. I put them together with all other oxen in the same play group, yeah. I threw the food to them, like Mechanchim today. I threw the food to all the cows together. I didn't notice that it didn't eat. So I did well enough. I tried to, I fed him with everybody else. I didn't notice that cow alone was the one who didn't eat. I didn't notice that. Now, is that a good taina? Don't say too quickly yes or no. Depends. Michdi, at the end of the day, Bakra shomer socho, as Peretz correctly said. The Bakra, the cowboy, is a shomer socho, the yasmihu. He's a shomer socho of the Yisomim. The apotropos is just their hand, yeah? But he's a shomer socho for the Yisomim. Shomer socho has higher liability. We expect higher level of what? Of shemira, of care from the shomer socho. Ibai leili yuni. He should have been me'ayin. He should have looked and saw that each and every cow gets fed. It's not public school, it's private school. I pay every month a lot of money. I want personal attention to each cow, including mine. How come you missed that? So now, says the Gemara like this. Now the shomer is not always off the hook. Enochinami. You better point out that at this happy note, had enochinami, the cowboy, the shomer, the bakra should be chayav to pay. Because as a paid person, he should have been extra careful and see that each and every cow, including the cow of the Yisoy Melach, also eats properly, and he should be chayav. However, so if this is a flow chart, that is one way to end the flow chart. However, there's another branch here. What really happened in our story was different. We continue the flow chart. True. If the Yisomim would come out with a loss, if they would be in the losing end, achinami, right. And what? The shomer should have paid them because the shomer sacher was negligent. Shomer chinim can say, I did the general thing, I'm just a ganenet, paid 50 shekels. You're private, you're paid, you should have known better. However, in our case, as I said, a different branch of the flow chart, the what's the story over here? The lekab said that the atmi, the Yisomim here didn't lose a dime, they didn't lose $1 or a shekel. How come? Listen to this, customer service. They found the original owner of the toe of the bull, the shakul yatmi zuzi minei, and he refunded them. They took money from him. How much was the bull worth? 20,000 shekels. Expensive. They came to the original seller themselves, or I assume the apotropos did, and he said, "Excuse me, Mister. Yeah, this is mekach toos. What did you sell us? You sell us a toothless animal. You piece of rah 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 rah. They didn't tell me." And now the Rishonim discuss. Let's assume that this bull, by the way, was meant for work. A bull that's meant for work is supposed to live many years. Some bulls are sold for what? For shchita. The bull for shchita, the Balim can say, I thought you're going to shecht it tomorrow. He doesn't have to eat much. Even that is a question. But Lamaisa, that's mekach tos. And you know what? He was an American or English. The seller paid them he refunded them straight away. Wow. Yeah. So Lamaisa, the Yisraelim are now not losing. The Yisraelim have 20,000 shekels at hand. Who is the one who's now with a loss? The seller. The seller now is Ken. The cow's dead. It's worth something to sell, whoever, Tim McKenzie, worth much, much less, the dead cow. And 20,000 shekel, honestly, he took out of his pocket to pay back. As the Gemara says it better than me, Ela man katoin. So who is now the plaintiff? Who's the toin? Who's the one who wants to, do the head of the cow, the seller? Who's that? Mare de Torah. Mare de Torah. Yep. What? You're saying what? That he knew it. He knew that it's toothless.
What he was selling.
Mare de Torah katoin. The Mare de Torah says, the owner of the cow says, yeah, the shomer should have told us. Frag the Gemara, the question of Burech. You crazy? Well, the Gemara doesn't say crazy. We should tell you, excuse me, you knew very well what you're selling. Why it was mekach tos. You also even admitted or proven or whatever that the cow is toothless. Why? Because why? Mekach tos. You paid 20,000 out of your pocket or whichever money. Why? Because you admitted that you knew that the cow is not a good cow. If so we think at this point. If so, you are complaining at us, mechutzav. You knew all along that you're selling us, excuse my language, garbagey cow without teeth. Answers the Gemara. Besafsira. There were two sides to the sale. Mamish like the Midyanim and the Ishmaelim by Yosef. There are two people, owner. That's why I wrote seller, not owner. The real owner, Mr. X, mysterious person, they bought it from a seller who is a safsal. A safsal, also in modern Hebrew. Modern safsal means something else, but the safsal explains the Gemara, is a seller who honestly didn't know the quality of the shiur that he sells. He was not the person who was raising the cow. Says the Gemara, the zoban mehocha umaz bin lahocha within the same day. He's a seicher. What kind of guy is he? He buys from Mr. Owner who raised that cow and fed it maternal all the time, for 5 years, and he sells it the same day on the market. The same day he bought it from the owner, he sold it to Mr. Apotropos, and he honestly didn't know. Honestly, it's going to take a shvua, and he's going to take a shvua that he really didn't know that there's no teeth. You can say your fault, you didn't check. Lamaisa, he didn't really know that the teeth are missing, and now he's missing the money. He's being honest. He says, okay, I believe you, or maybe they proved it. He paid back the money, but he really didn't know. B'shvua. He didn't know that the cow was toothless and where's the owner? In the Bahamas, or maybe in Seychelles. Now the owner is not part of the story anymore, right? Because he's the one who sold it. They're against the seller. So now hilkach. Therefore, what do you do? So now the seller is the one, misken, the safsar seller is the one who's complaining to who? Who's the one he's complaining to? Either to the shomer or to the apotropos. That is not simple at all. Hilkach. Therefore, although you're right, today's your day. Therefore, comes the maskana. You get that it's a tricky story here. What's the maskana? Therefore, mishtaba ihu de lo haviyoda, right? So therefore, as I told you, the safsar, the person who's a safsar, is a person who really didn't know. What do you mean, really? He has to take a shvua that he really did know that the animal was toothless, which automatically now makes him not only non-guilty, but it also makes him the one who has the right he deserves the money. He says, I paid something unknowingly, b'pgam. It was in the hands of the yesoimim or the shomer. That's a question now. The other party shouldn't have waited so long and then come to me and ask for the money back. Had I known from the first day that the animal doesn't eat, right? Then I would have taken it back. Then I would take the animal back to me, right? Or maybe the son would have kept it. Something would have been done. They would have said the daisa. They would shecht it. They would be informed. They wouldn't let the tragedy happen that the animal dies and now the safsar is losing. So who should pay? Ubeshalem bakra, correct, Baruch. The one who has to pay is the shepherd, the cowboy has to pay. How much does he have to pay? May boso bezol, which means he doesn't have to pay exactly the entire amount of 20,000 because we say that it's not completely his fault either, and soon we're going to see why. Therefore, there's the middle. According to Rashi, it's a pshara. It's a pshara. It's some kind of compromise, and he doesn't have to pay the entire cow. He has to pay the may boso bezol. May boso bezol means that instead of, let's say, if it's worth 6, it's going to be worth 4. 2/3 of the actual animal. How much is 2/3 of 20,000? I don't know. But I just made up the number 20,000, by the way. Maybe the cow is worth 5,000. The cow is worth 6,000 for me. So now it's 4,000. You only have to pay 2/3. You can ask why doesn't it pay the whole thing. Says Rashi. There's a long Rashi over here that says, let's just summarize. So what do we say? The ones that pay, the one who pays the maskona is the cowboy has to pay to the safsar, right? The safsar is the one who pays them. The safsar is the one who lost the money because it was a good, seller who gave back the money once he realized it was a mistake. But it is the cowboy's fault at the end of the day. You make it pshara. Now, the question is, says Rashi and the Rosh and the Rishonim say, why? Why is it that the cowboy, the bakra, the shomer, the choira, he has nothing to do with the safsar? The ones who have to pay may be the yesomim. And if you say the yesomim don't have to pay because they don't know, maybe the safsar shouldn't get it from anybody, which means the one who's dealing with the safsar directly are the orphans, right? Yes. The apotropos and the orphan, right? The apotropos himself, of course, doesn't have to pay. It's absolutely not his fault, right? On the other end, the apotropos, it's not the apotropos' fault. The apotropos' fault. The apotropos' fault. The apotropos' fault. It's not. He didn't know. He gave it straight away to a professional who failed, who flunked. One option would be that everyone should be potter. Why should everybody be potter? Because lemaisa, the seller goes to the apotropos. The apotropos says, it's not my business. I gave it to a professional. The professional can say, who am I shomer socher for? True, I'm a shomer socher, and everyone's angry at me the whole sugya. I'm a shomer socher of who? Of the yesomim. And the yesomim didn't lose anything. In other words, there are two parties here. 1 second. This is the losing party, and this is the depositor. In other words, usually it's the same person. And this is the vort over here. Usually, when I give my pen to you and you messed up with it, I'm the owner and I'm the one who lost. Here, ownership is divided to 2. And you guys should tell me where else we found it a few dapim ago. In other words, the owner, meaning owner, the one who deposited are the orphans. The cowboy, the bakra guy can say, I don't know who the seller is. Lo yadati es paroi, lo yadati es Hashem, lo yadati es Yosef. Who is he? He has nothing to do with me, right? And therefore I'm not paying him. You guys, you didn't lose. What do you want for my life? You are the ones who deposited the money by me. Or the cow. Yes, it's you guys. And what? And you are the ones who have 20,000 in your pocket. Get out of here. You are the losing side. I never saw you in my life. I don't know who you are, Mr. Safsar. That was not only a havamina, it's the opinion of Tanakama in the Sugya, in the Mishnah of, if you remember the Mishnah, which we saw a few dapim ago. What happens if a person gives something to a soichel? There was a Mishnah with a complicated chart, but it's not so complicated. The Mechlekes in the Mishnah says Tanakama, that's good chazara. If I rented my car or my cow to you, Ellen, and you were very nice, and out of the week of rental, you lent it free to your landsman, to pellets over here, you lent it to him with my general permission, let's say. I said, okay, and well, it wouldn't happen by you, I'm sure, but it was Nensa and the car was total, it shouldn't happen to you. Then what? One opinion says that that the shoil pays the soicher. That's what the Nakama says. the soicher, although I'm the one who lost and you didn't lose because it's not your cow, Ellen, the money goes to you. And that's what we're saying over here. LMI over here, they didn't lose. Yet, in other words, my business says the last one on the list, the one at the end of the store, the end of the channel, says to the one before, you are the only one I know. And if I owed money to you, I would pay you gladly. But you got your money already. And him, I don't know who is Bichlal. That's such a tzad, there's such a tzad, yes. However, Rabbi Yossi is the one who said no in the Mishnah. Back then in the same Mishnah, says Rabbi Yossi, how can Ellen make money on my expense? I can make schoira in your friend's cow. Yeah, in other words, the one who lost was not you, Ellen. I'm the one who lost. I'm the cow owner. And therefore, you don't stop over here, you go all the way here to the original owner who actually lost the money. And there is discussion, there is actually interaction between the last party who flipped, who he's a big pasha, yeah, what's his name? The cowboy, and we don't stop at the middle guy, we go all the way to the original guy who lost, because we say, yes, we have to go all the way to him. So why is it only A? Okay, so far, now, he says, yeah, over here says Rashi, the pshia here is not so bad, like I said. I'm sorry, I said what I just said a second ago, I felt something was wrong. It's not complete pshia. Because to feed all the cows together, the guy has like 500 cows maybe, it's not a pshia to feed all of them together and just let them eat and not notice. It's only a pshia for what? Vis-a-vis shomer socher. Had it been a shomer chinam, it would be okay. So because the pshia is not so bad and the liability is not so clear, that's why we make a pshara and he doesn't pay for the entire thing, he only pays for 2/3. Or maybe it's because he didn't know whether the shore is supposed to live for a long time or for a short period of time. Some shvarim don't have to be fed so much, so they're meant to go tomorrow to the shchita house anyways. And maybe he didn't know. Because there are those factors here, there's a pshara. But generally speaking, the one who has to pay is the one at the end, like Upaskin, like Rabbi Yossi, doesn't stop in the middle. It goes all the way to the original owner who is the losing party. Yeah, you can't make, if you're not the one who lost, get out of here. You don't interest us. We have to go to the original person who actually lost the money, which in this case is the safsal, and in our Mishnah is the owner. That's what we pass. Now we have another case, question time. Yes, a lot of questions, a lot of good energy in the room. Yeah. Good point, a side point, but a good point, and that is true that the safsal was just quick dealer, the middleman who didn't know this, didn't know that, and he swore he didn't know, and a chinami. He was not informed of the original owner. That's true. Maybe now he can go to the original owner and claim how much? Claim 2,000, not the whole thing. Because he made already, whichever loss he made. Oh, very nice. That's actually a nice point. Because we feel that the safsar lost 1/3. That 1/3, if I was him, I would go with a nice big lawyer to the owner and say, you, Mr. Owner, you sold me a cow, yeah, without teeth, and you didn't think of telling me that? Like, why not? Where were you born? Yeah, Israel. That's the last question, and then we're back to last story. Yeah. Third story. I said the Gemara says there was a question about the apotropos. The Gemara started off the first person in the potential hot seat, on the hook was apotropos. And the Gemara answered, the apotropos bought it from a person who looked very nice, reliable, and straight away gave it to a professional backer to look after. He doesn't have to do more than that. There's a person who was mafkid kishuta, I think it's called hops in English. It's some kind of grains that you make alcohol from. Yeah, beer, whatever. What? Hops, yep. So it's a type of what do you make out of it's a beer. Really? It's a small apple? Okay. I know kshot is always translated as hop, hop, skip, and jump. Okay. So then the kitzer, a person was mafkid, deposited some kind of a grain or small whatever that is used for shechar. You put it in the alcohol, it ferments, and you make beer. That person, the shomer, also had his own separate, not like the story of the Mishnah, his own separate kri, his own separate pile of kshot So there was one shot that it was his own, right? And one that was looked after, that it belonged to a different person, and he's in charge of it. Omar Lelisase, he told his soris, he told his, like the saris of Achashverosh, he told his servant, Mehai Rami, now we're going to make some beer. We're going to start the process. So please take from mine, meaning not, and we understand means what? Take from this one, from this pile, meaning that belongs to me, and he should have understood, and not from the other pile that belongs to the other gentleman. He's being honest. He's not taking from what doesn't belong to him. He takes it from his own pile. Or so he told his servant to do. The what's his name? The Tholis, the Meshores, what did he do to the servant? He took from the other one. He took hops from who? From the pile that belongs to the depositor that he shouldn't have. Omar Vamram. Now Rav Amram says again, we're stuck. For the third time, we repeat the same line. How shall the Dayanim deal with this case? If we tell the shomer, not the shomer, yes, the shomer. If you tell the shomer, Zil Shlim, go and pay, Omar, he would say, Ano Amrile Mehai Rami, I told him to take from this one, and he should have understood, not from the other one. I was good, I was aware, and I said, take from this one, the one in the blue room, not from the one in the green room. So understood. So who's in the hot seat now? Who is now to be blamed? So is the schlepper Meshoris. Let's tell the Meshoris, you go pay because you be a dime. You took something that doesn't belong to you or your boss, and you took from the wrong place, and you're told otherwise. Omar, he says no. Lo Omar le mehai rami umehai lo tirmi. Interesting. He didn't say take from this and not from the other one. In other words, I assumed, says the shomer, when he told me take from the one in the green room, he wasn't very specific, only the green room, not from the blue room. I thought, stop preference. He didn't tell me, don't take from the blue room. Let's say the blue room is where the deposit is. Yeah, the forbidden one. He didn't say take from this and not from the other. I thought, stop preference. There's no lav davka. Okay, so now what? Everyone's blaming, everyone's getting, shirking off responsibility. Continues the Gemara. Let's say that he waited enough time that look at Rashi here. It's a bit of a thing. Rashi, the first wide line. Shiur. Here's a very interesting option. The Gemara is asking, let's say the kri of the owner was close by, nearby. Let's say the one of the pikodon, the one that is not supposed to be taken from, because it's not theirs, that they shouldn't touch it. Let's say that was far away. How far? Let's say the shliach stayed enough time, he thought of was out of sight, doing his shlichus, enough time that he should have gone. He had enough time to go to the closer one, and it didn't come. In other words, the Baal Abai saw that the shlich is not coming and not coming and not coming with the hops, with the thing. Continues the Gemara. Either shashir lisuye lei veloi aisi lei, and he did not yet bring him. Then Gali Adaite, the Baal Abai shows us with his silence that the nichalei bedeloi shaho. Right? In other words, the story is that it's not so complicated at all. Let's say the Baal Abai knows. He said, let's say it's now, what's the time now? 10:25. Okay. 10:25, the Baal Abai tell Mr. Soros, okay, good morning, 10:25. Now we're going to start making the new beer of the day in honor of Hanukkah. Very nice. So now please bring me the hops from the one in the blue machzan. He didn't say not the green one. Yeah, he said this one. Okay. How long does it take to go all the way to the blue machzan from where we are? 2 minutes. How long does it take to go from here to the forbidden creed that doesn't belong to us? 20 minutes. And he saw that the guy, who I assume is otherwise doesn't dawdle, 20 minutes it took him, and he only came after 20 minutes or 40 minutes, with some hops. He should have suspected and said, how come it took you so long? Didn't you take it from where? From the one that you're not supposed to? And if he didn't say that, he didn't make that mecho, then it shows that the Bailim silently agreed to that kind of theft. You know what I'm saying? You knew that it doesn't take so long to go to your own Pri. So what did you think? It's like Esav, it took him too quickly to find the, Yitzchak says, how come you so quickly found an animal, right? He shechted the dog, whatever. So that's the idea. That silent agreement from your side, the Balabais, and in that case, the Balabais should really what? Should pay, right? Because the Balabais knew that the Soris is doing funny business and kept quiet. That's Pshia. That's Pshia. Freit Gemara, soif, my pseida ika. What's the problem? What's the hefsed? Vakamishtal shilei. He can pay back from what? From the kishos, right? In other words, who cares? Who cares? Let's say he has 5 tons and he has 5 tons. I'm sorry, mister, that I took, 3 kilos from your hops, and I'll pay you back for mine. What's a big payment here, right? Okay, that's a question. It's not cash here. Okay, I have and you have. Okay, I took some from yours. I'm so sorry, or my clumsy, stupid Mishoris. Sorry. Take the 3 kilos from me. Answers the Gemara. I didn't see these answers. Didn't prepare it yesterday, so I'm doing this now together with you. Omar v'sama b'rei derove da v'shichra chala. Da v'shichra chala. It was already machmitz. What does that mean? That was already became chometz. He says I'll pay you back with my beer, but his beer was already sour. Get it? Get it. Yeah. In other words, his beer was bad. He has no way of paying with beer because his beer already got sour, got bad. What? Oh, so now he has turn to vinegar. What's Ravashi Omar Bekisi? Bekisi says Rashi, it was the bad one with kotzi merovimbo. Yeah. In other words, it was bad kishus, that the level of the quality of kishus that he had, the owner, the shomer was bad. I'm not willing you to pay back with your lousy kisi. Umeshalem leid make kisi. Now he has to pay. We're going to see that on Sunday. I want to see that case on Sunday because I don't want to give you, bad quality beer or bad quality Torah. So on Sunday, Metzia Hashem, we're going to go back to the case of the kishos, okay? And then we're going to see the Mishnah in Gimel Amud Be'ezras Hashem. Next week, my friends, on Chanukah, we'll probably start at some point Perek HaZohov. We're going to finish this Perek hopefully on Tuesday or Wednesday, Metzia Hashem, and start Perek HaZohov, the 4th Perek, and the 4th Perek HaZohov is worth gold. And I will say no more. Thank you very much. It's Tzlocha Rabba and a good Shabbos, and I appreciate you coming to the shiur. Bye.